All right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. You're just in time for that conversation with the governor for Busia, His Excellency Peter Ojamong. If you're watching from there and if you have any questions, send them through at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Daybreak. Governor, thank you so much for making time for us this morning. And quick question, most of your colleagues and yourself have been on the spot over spending COVID-19 cash without a work plan. Did you spend money without a work plan, Governor?
Thank you, Bija. I think every county has a work plan every financial year. And Busia County, being one of the counties in Kenya, every year we have a work plan on how we discharge our activities, especially for the procurement plan, which was being questioned by the Auditor General. We had it. So to say that these counties had no work plans is just an assumption and just trying to maybe to tarnish the names of the counties, because every year before you start spending any money, or even anticipated money, which you never expected to get, there is always a work plan, approved work plan, which is initiated by the executive and is approved by the county assembly, verified by the control of budget, and is usually reflected in most of the systems, the national and county government systems. So there's no way you can just start procuring things without a work plan, as it was indicated.
So what happened in between here, Governor? Is it that you didn't give your work plan to the Auditor General, or was she not satisfied with the work plan that you gave? Because that was a point of contention.
Yeah, the work plan, unfortunately, because these people, it was a special audit. And when they came, they were not very keen in picking some of these documents, which we have them right now. But as I indicated earlier on, that every county, before it starts spending, always has work plans. Unless there are cases of emergencies, which is provided for in law, you can spend, then do the work plans thereafter. So it's a provision in law.
So, Governor, can you confirm that you can account for every single coin that was given to you under the COVID-19 fund?
On Bija, in fact, the point of contention was not even the Auditor General's report, because what we only recommended, because there are no these work plans, that next time we spend the money, we should provide the work plans. Indeed, they confirmed that we spend the money. But the eye-catching, people just total the money, 103 and another 106 million, and said that 209 million shillings COVID money in Busia County went missing. You know, it was actually trying to portray us in bad light and mislead the public. The money, the 103 million was spent very well, and so we can account for all our money, and even the Auditor General admits that we spent the money, only that there was a misconception that we did not have the work plans.
So the first one was 103, which they were saying you did not have the work plans, and you've just clarified that. The other one was 106, which they say you spent late. Why did you spend that money late, Governor?
You know, the way we receive our funds, like this was a grant from the national government, the 106 million. It was sent when the financial year had been closed, that is in June. And for you to spend these government funds, you have to have them in the budget. And once the financial year is closed in June, you are not able to do that unless you factor it in the supplementary budget. Now look at it this way. The supplementary budget was done 6 months later, around December, by the MCAs, who also have their own calendar. So all along within that period, you cannot, whether you have the money, but you cannot spend it because it has not been factored in the supplementary budget, whereby you'll have all those work plans in place and the modalities you use to spend that money. So we have to wait for all this process to take place, which you cannot force as an executive, because even the assembly is independent, it takes its own time to verify all this that the county executives have proposed.
And also, Governor, you know the other thing, now that you've clarified that, and the Auditor General will also clarify that, the other issue is the third wave of COVID-19 and the way it has ravaged counties. What is Busia doing to cushion its own people? We've seen other counties that are removing levies, removing the taxes on certain businesses. What are you doing to cushion your own people?
First of all, you find that in the first wave, Busia kept on topping for almost the first 6 months. It's among the top 3 after Nairobi and Mombasa. And Busia people, especially the medical staff and the leadership, should have been appreciated for at least taking care of the COVID who were over 500 who were admitted, but we managed to manage them. And we had no casualties from Busia County compared to what we had in Pagat and the rest of the places in Kenya. So the people of Busia, the leadership and the medics should be appreciated for a good job well done instead of the negative reports that we have been seeing. But as far as the business fraternity, how we are trying to caution our people against the third wave, one is that we are working in line with the national government and other agencies to ensure that our people get vaccinated. So out of around over 10,000 doses that we received, we already injected around 8,000 people with the vaccine, especially those at the front line, the medics, the police, the elderly, and the teachers. And the uptake has been very good. The response from the people is very okay. And we hope when we get the next batch of the vaccine, it will be rolled out to other people in the villages. But so far, among the preparations that we have done is to train our community health volunteers. We are trying to remunerate them and ensure that they understand COVID. We are working in partnership with the other organizations like the Living Goods to ensure that the community health volunteers are well equipped so that we tackle the COVID at the grassroots level, which means we actually have to educate our people because this disease is just about self-discipline, just the way it has been indicated, people washing their hands, keeping distance, wearing masks when they are in public places. So we are just trying to tackle it at the grassroots level.
Yeah.
But even at the institutional level, the hospitals, I think we have staff who have been well trained. We started with the 14 who are the trainers of trainers. They have come down. They are busy training others so far so that we can be able to have well-informed personnel in our dispensaries, health centers, and the county referral hospitals. The testing kits, I think we have been on top of the game in the region. We have a testing center at Alupe and also the Busia County Referral Hospital, and we are providing services. So it's all systems go. So we as a county, we are working not as only the county government, but together with the national government because the county team is being headed by the county commissioner and the governor.
Yeah.
And we are very well represented, multi-agency kind of team. And we only have a few challenges, might be for reagents and other supplies, but we are trying our level best to tackle the pandemic.
But Governor, you know that's on the administrative level. But for the people who are in Busia, have you waived the levies there? Have you reduced the taxes there? What is your plan for them?
We have not been very hard on the payment of taxes and the other levies, especially to our business fraternity, because we have a very big challenge, even the cross-border trade, and we have been having conversations with the Chamber of Commerce, and we have pointed out to our business fraternity that if they face challenges paying any taxes, which we foresee, we can't be hard on them, and we are going to caution them against all these hardships, but we also have want to talk with the national government to see how we can caution, because we are really affected. Apart from might be the COVID pandemic, even where the business has been skewed against Kenya, between Kenya and the East African states, especially Uganda. So it's a very big challenge for our business fraternity. And that's why even in our collections or revenue, we have gone very low, but we understand the situation. So we promise that we are going to work in partnership with the business fraternity, and all those affected might be also, especially those those who do not have, the poor in the society. In our current budget, we are factoring in money to cushion some of the most vulnerable members of the community, the disabled, the elderly, so that we can be able to ensure that we move together, move along together with them.
How much have you
As
factored in, Governor?
we are just in the process of starting to do the budget. In fact, right now after this meeting, we are now going to put the figures which will reflect what the people have been proposing at the grassroots, because we have had public participation for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And today we are just going to see which figure will be suitable to cushion our people from all these adverse effects of COVID-19.
How many people do you estimate that are very vulnerable and will need support from the county?
Actually, there will be, we can say around over 40,000 people are vulnerable. But we are working very closely with the members of parliament also, and the other organizations, especially in areas of Budalangi, the Red Cross, and many other organizations that have come in, chipped in. So we are not doing all this in isolation, but we say that we are also going to factor our share in order to cushion our people.
Governor, what is the situation right now when it comes to COVID-19 infections in your county? Many governors have been complaining that now the infections is spreading in the counties even worse than the 5 locked down counties.
Yes, indeed, the spread has escalated, and that's why even from the national level, yesterday we had a meeting, a Senate meeting, the COG meeting, and together with the Minister of Health, we analyzed the data from the grassroots. Indeed, the disease is escalating, and we need to put our heads together. I think we must be having a meeting by next week to see to it that we do mass testing. We also escalate civic education to our people so that they can they ensure that there's self-discipline, especially in the containment of these diseases, this COVID-19. So we have those figures, and we have measures that were put in place as a COG that we want to roll out across the country.
Governor, would you say that Busia County Referral Hospital is ready and well equipped to handle the upsurge of COVID-19?
We cannot say that way, because this is a disease that keeps on mutating. The virus keeps on mutating, and we have to keep on changing the tactics on how to handle it. So you might be having the personnel that is trained in one type of virus today. Tomorrow it mutates, you might need different knowledge, different equipment. So it is something that keeps on changing, that it needs us always also to be awake, and they always keep on addressing the challenges it poses to us. So, but so far, I think we can contain to the best of our ability what we can. But in the case of might be a real upsurge, we might need assistance from elsewhere.
Well, you had enough time to have beds in the hospitals. Would you say you have enough beds, Governor?
The beds for the patients?
Yes, to handle COVID-19 especially.
Yeah, I think the president had given us a target of 300 beds per county. But so far, with us in Busia, we have 416 beds. I think we are doing well. And that is just in our health institutions, because we gave up on the schools that were given because the students resumed. So we've concentrated in our isolation and treatment center, the referral hospital, and other sub-county hospitals where we have equipped in readiness for any eventualities.
What is your plan going forward, Governor, especially with pending bills? Because I've seen a question around that. What is the main challenge facing counties when it comes to the issue around pending bills?
Yes, we are. All of us are facing a similar problem across the county, across the country, because as we talk now, we have not received might be our share for January, February, March, and by next month we shall be closing the financial year. We shall not have got might be for 4 months. This money we cannot be able to spend it this financial year because once the financial year closes, you have to do a supplementary budget. So assuming now we have not gotten money for around 4 billion, if it is rolled over to next financial year, we shall be able to spend it in around might be September, October, November, January, depending on how fast the MCS will work on the supplementary budget. So all this will constitute pending bills. Like Busia County, we have accumulated unknowingly because of the debt disbursements, pending bills to the tune of over 3 billion. So it's not the problem of the county government, but because the disbursements have been very irregular and they are brought at the wrong time where you cannot spend it.
So what is the plan going forward? Because I'm wondering if the money comes in at the wrong time, and you have a pending bill of 3 billion shillings, do you have a plan of disbursing that money?
Definitely, for people who have worked, we have a plan because we have to pay for the services delivered, contracts done. But all this money is not disbursed at the go. Because on Bija, if you have a pending bill of around 2 billion, the government cannot be able to afford, the national government cannot afford to give you 1 billion in 1 month. It will give you in phases. It will keep on giving you in phases 400 million a month, which you have to spread thin to cater for most of the things, the pending bills, the salaries, you have to pay for operational activities. So you will not be given this money at a lump sum. That's the problem. That's the biggest problem we have. Because the government also says, national government says, they cannot collect all this money at a go. So whatever they collect, the little they share it amongst the departments, the county government, and also its own departments. So it's not money that you say that if the national government owes you 4 billion, you will get it within 2 months or 3 months. It will still be spread out. So it will continue being rolled forward.
Governor, have you paid your workers?
I've never had a problem paying my workers. At least I've been somebody who worked in the Ministry of Labor. I know labor issues, and even if they can confess that I've never failed to pay them at any one point, even if we had no money, but I take care of them every month.
How do you do that? Because there are some counties that are saying, you just mentioned that money has not been disbursed for almost 4 months now.
Yes, I've tried how to balance my budget, especially taking care of the human resource first, and then might be development activities, and then I don't prioritize might be the operation so much, because most people can, because there are 3 things you can factor: the human resource, the operations, and there might be the payment of the suppliers and the contractors. But
Yeah.
me, I prioritize the human resource and the contractors. That's why you see the contractors don't complain in the Busia County. But I know how problems might be with operations, where my staff might be get stuck at times, moving because they cannot take care of some of the bills, like paying the petrol stations and servicing their vehicles. But we try the best of our ability to ensure that things are moving.
As an experienced governor, what would you want to be put in place to ensure that the counties run more efficiently? Because I know when you collect your revenue, you can't spend it at source. You still have to bring it back to the national government, then request for it again. How can the government, the national government and county governments make a much more easily gelling system that works? What would you recommend?
Personally, I recommend, if we want the smooth running of counties, one, is that we should have a special budget for development projects. That one should be at least disbursed at once at one disbursement, might be at the start of the financial year. So that if we have a development budget for Busia, might be for a financial year of 1 billion, it should be disbursed at a go so that the county government is able to start implementing projects. But the peaceful disbursements will not ensure that counties implement their projects the way the public wants. And might be the salaries. Those ones should also be prioritized so that we don't have delays, might be strikes and all those things. But also there are some initiatives that the county governments have started which take very long for the national government to approve, like the facility improvement fund in hospitals, where doctors and nurses were used to, I think, once they receive the money from patients, they are allowed to spend it on source for the benefit of other patients. But you'll find that when money collected in hospitals has to be taken back to Nairobi in the treasury while a patient is dying here. And the doctor is with the patient, they have the money there, but they cannot utilize it. So there was a revolving fund, FIF, which, if implemented, would have improved service delivery in the facilities. But like for me and most other counties, it has taken us forever to get the fund rolled out because of the barriers that have been placed. But otherwise, that could have really been assisted. But I know devolution, despite people fighting it, it's just been the best thing. But we need more dialogue, especially between the national government, the county government, and other stakeholders, so that we can see how best it can be handled. Other than just lumping out every governor is corrupt, I don't know, every county government is county government. You know, now that's a talk all over. People are not even talking about the projects that are being undertaken by county governments. People are just hyping about corruption, impeachment, and all those things, which impact very negatively on devolution.
But isn't there a case to answer? For example, like yourself, Governor, the anti-corruption court ruled on Friday that you have a case to answer over 8 million shillings graft case.
You know, one thing, Obija, you know, since I've been a leader for a very long time, so how I even got entangled in the 8 million case, 8 million, because we are around 9 of us. That's money that we can, if we are told, alternatively, can you return back that money, we can do it in a day. But when it is being pushed, so I'm just being dragged in the mud. It's not even, and it's not even that the money was lost. The people just have their priorities upside down. And because, you know, politics are that game. If you want to drag your opponents in the mud, you drag them all the way you want. But it is something even trivial. If I told you today to open our swap group, you can raise that money for me and pay for me, even if it's not me doing it. So there's a lot of politics in devolution, and people want to tarnish other people's names. So 9 million is not money that 8 million is not the money that you can say that a governor can sit down, go to Germany to plan to steal. Eh?
Yeah. But now that's the thing, Governor, because I'm giving you a chance to clarify all these issues. How would it be made more efficient? Because let's start with the Auditor General. You gave them the papers, they say they did not receive the papers, and they published the fact that there was no work plan. How can this then be made more effective? You mentioned this issue of corruption and money being disbursed late to the counties, and then you can't spend it. It's the efficiency that I'm looking for here. What is the Council of Governors even recommending then?
Okay, one is that, let me say that they are indicated for us to have efficiency, there should be very close working relations between national government agencies, the county governments. We should be having constant dialogue so that to understand. Because when the Auditor General comes to counties, I think they are also just on a fault-finding mission. They are not out maybe to address the issues. They will just be coming, depending on the people that have been sent. But we know that I cannot tell all the intrigues that happen between might be other agencies and county governments, Senate, Parliament, and all those things, because these are things that could be handled indoors. But what I would just say that we need a lot of dialogue between the institutions so that each gets to understand. Because in some cases, some people have been taken to court that they don't have budgets. But you produce a budget, they get puzzled. People don't understand what the country government is doing. So what I will just say is that people should encourage dialogue so that each understands what happens in various institutions
Yeah.
so that we can move forward. But
What
there's a lot of misunderstanding.
What did you say is the relationship between the governors and the senators?
Those are my colleagues, and next year I might be there, but I will not talk much. But to me, most of them have been my colleagues, they have been my friends. And we have cordial relationship with them, and we sort out our issues on the table. And I don't have a problem, but I think they must be having problems with other people. But these are people who are within the parliament, and we enjoy working together.
When you say next year you might be there, are you hinting at running for Senate governor?
Some people are saying that I'm still young. Why should I come and start farming? Just looking for where to put me. So I'm saying that Parliament, wherever they will want to take me, I would say, if I will still be energetic enough to serve them, then I'll be able to throw my weight in the ring.
Okay. Finally, Governor, I'll give you a chance to finish up on this issue of Busia. When you started off and now you only have about a year to go, do you think you achieved your vision for Busia?
Not really, but we've tried to at least to lay down the foundation. Initially, there was a lot of politics involved, which was unnecessary. And for the second time that I joined, I think we have enjoyed a very good working relationship with my assembly and the executive. And we hope to realize most of the things in the next 1 year, and we are geared towards it. But so far, we've done the expectation, especially on the areas that we have been tasked to handle. Like the ECD classrooms, I think we have done in most of the schools. The employment of ECD teachers we have done in almost all schools. The opening of roads in rural areas, people have enjoyed them. At least for the first time in Busia town, you can talk about a tarmac road. Those were all initiatives of the county government, even though it was not our function, it was a national government function. But because of the pressure of the people we did, we've improved our sub-county hospitals. We have improved the number of medical staff, which we have almost doubled in number. We put up a medical training center now. We can train our own staff.
Yeah.
The tune of 600 students, clinical officers and nurses, and quite a number of other things that we have done. Built markets for the people, initiated empowerment funds for the people in agriculture, in the cooperative movement, in the trade sector. So we've initiated quite a number of things that if the next administration took over from there, they will be able to move faster and the people will be able to realize the development in the county.
All right. Governor, thank you so much for speaking to us and for clarifying those issues around the COVID-19 funds. We'll see how this goes on from the Auditor General's perspective. That's His Excellency Peter Oja Mong, Busia Governor, speaking to us online on the issues around COVID-19 funds in the counties. Thank you so much for making time. That's where we leave it for now. I'm taking a quick break. When we come back, what are we doing, Ibra?